Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. And man, oh man, this is the last show of the week.
Last show
before
of the week.
a big game. This is the second time the Lions, if they win this game, second time ever they've been to an NFC Championship game. This is significant. And we have the same crew as always to preview with you. Sam Flannel, KG, JB, breaking it down today. All Lions today. All Lions. No guests, just analysis, breakdowns, previewing the game. I can't wait. I want to get a feel for the room. And people in the chat, tell me how you're feeling this morning. It's here. 2 days away. It's like a good nervous, though. Like, I'm excited. I can't wait.
Well, in no way, shape, or form am I going to disrespect the Bucs or anything like that. I know we'll get deeper into it as time goes on, especially during this show. But as far as a matchup that you could hope for, a 7-point favorite at home to go to the NFC Championship game, it adds some pressure, obviously. It adds the feeling of, if we don't do this, it will be a degree of a disappointment to the season. But at the same time, I think at the end of the day, with how everything has shaped out, you would rather, at least I would, I'm not going to speak for everybody, I would rather have the Buccaneers at home than the Cowboys on the road. I know that there's a vengeance factor with the Cowboys and all of that, but it's still going on the road. The Cowboys, at least on paper, were a better team, even though they crapped the bed in the playoffs. But the Buccaneers, I just feel like there's too many ways in which the Lions have the advantage in order to lose this game. I'm not disrespecting the Bucs. It's going to be a good game, but this is a favorable matchup, I would say.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a disrespectful thing to say. The Lions are a better team. They are.
Yes.
I think Dallas, it's more close. Obviously, what happened with Dallas against Green Bay, you'd argue it's
not. To see it.
But you're right. I would rather have, especially at home.
Yeah.
That's everything at Ford Field. Eduardo O'Neill, shout out to you, my man. He says, Jeff, what time is the pregame show? It's 9:30 to 11:30 Sunday. So stick around for that. Me, Booner, Michael Gentry, and KG, the entire crew. It'll be a fun show breaking down that game as well. But KG, good morning to you. How you feeling? We're on the brink of a big game, my man.
I'm good, man. And just along with BNL, we need to say JNF, jobs not finished. So
I like that.
I'm ready for this weekend, man. I just realized Sam is clean shaven.
Yes.
So I'm a little taken aback by that. But everything else is good. What's up with y'all, man?
You know, it was never a playoff beard or anything like that. I had it before the playoffs even started. I just at some point, I'm one of the few people in the world now that just lets it grow pretty long and then just shaves it all off. It's like dealing with two different people. I love it, though.
Yeah, I think, if you're superstitious, that means you shave. That means Lions are going to lose. That's just how it works.
Well,
no,
please,
I'm just
Lions
kidding.
win.
I'm kidding.
So they get blamed.
I'm kidding. JB, how you feeling this morning?
Not bad. I just realized Flannel shave, so I'm like, holy shit, like,
right?
yo, what?
Hey, people,
it's happening right now, but I'm good. I mean, I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited for this weekend. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. And again, I want to say first, feel free to roast us. A couple minutes late again, so I'm not even going to argue that. So you can roast us all you want, but after you roast us, let's preview this game. I'm serious. I'm excited for it. It's funny just on social media how quickly the Lions have been the media darling, everyone's second favorite team, right? Go Lions. They're so cute. Look at them. I just want to pinch their little cheeks. And then we beat the Rams, and now it's like these Lions fans are cocky. This Lions team, man, and you see it all around. I can't wait to I'm going to check around social media. Obviously, I can't tune in live, but the national shows, I'm curious who these analysis pick. If they're going to go with the Bucs or the Lions, because last time they went with the Rams, it worked out well for the Lions. So it's just funny. You see that on social media too. People that were with the Lions now, they're like, no, the Lions are good. So now it's not hip to be with the Lions anymore.
Well, and this is where I'll be a little bit fair. Obviously, I love my fellow Lions fans. Most of them on places like Twitter are cool, but there are some accounts that are not the best. I'll just say that. But that's with every fan base. That's with Michigan. That's with Michigan State. That's with obviously like Vikings, Bears, Packers, Buccaneers, and all that. I understand where there are some fans on Twitter that can rub you the wrong way. I'm not going to mention any names, but there's definitely a few that are, I would say, pretty obvious. But other than that, most Lions fans are good, and we're enjoying something that we never got a chance to. So I'm hoping that people who are neutral observers, I think that the Lions are still an easy team to root for, given the story, given the fact we could maybe be like the 2016 Cubs. Just let them win one.
Yeah, and that's how I think it should be. Like Dan Orlovsky, I'm curious which way he goes. And I don't know if you saw the top 5 scariest quarterbacks, and Jared Goff wasn't even on that list, but Baker Mayfield was. But I don't know how you define scary. I don't, because Baker Mayfield versus Jared Goff, it doesn't really make sense to me. But hey, it is what it is. Love you, Dan Orlovsky, but that's another L on your record. Besides running out the back of the end zone, there you go. There's the top 5 ranking list. The fact that Baker's ahead of Jordan Love is idiotic to me. Mm-hmm. Like how? Jordan Love should be ahead of Baker if you're going to make a list like that. But regardless, that's an example of what I'm talking about. Is the media. Dan Orlovsky was one of the biggest Lions supporters, and it seems like lately it's just like, it's not cool to support the Lions anymore. I'm going to read some of these comments. Hello Name says Skip picked Tampa Bay.
Well, yeah, he's a Baker gobbler.
Well, that's also good.
He's the biggest Baker gobbler on the planet.
I don't want Skip picking the Lions. I don't know how that might just come back to bite him in the ass. So good, go pick the Bucs. This comment here saying that all national shows are starting to pick the Lions. Well, that's good. And let's go to break. When we come back, I want to get right into the breakdown of how kind of the keys to victory for the Detroit Lions, how they can win, what do they need to do in order to win, and some of the matchups that we're looking forward to do. We're going to get into Jared Goff again after we break down the game a little bit, and then we'll talk more about the X factor, for offense and defense. We do this every Friday. It's one of my favorite segments. It's a lot of fun. We'll discuss that. We'll get into the offense. Ben Johnson. Do you hate the process that the NFL has for these guys? He's interviewing. I think he has 4 interviews before the game on Sunday.
That's crazy.
Like, I hate it. I hate that. And this isn't just for Ben because I'm biased because we cover the Lions, but any team. Like, you're in a playoff run, interview after the shit. Like, wait till they lose, and then you could start, the interview process. We'll have that discussion at roughly about 9 o'clock. Packed show today. Stick around for it. First, though, got to hear about our friends from Lady Jane's.
Come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, where I get those A+ haircuts from the A+ stylist. Maybe soon I will pair my shave with a haircut, but I kind of like it a little bit long. I'm starting to look like a beetle. For an award-winning haircut experience, register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tourney. That's right, no expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
I'm going to tell you about our friends over at Les Stanford. What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years while you expand, offer more products to more people? This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. It's the same great service that customers have come to know and trust. It's on Woodward Avenue, just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today. We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Detroit Lions taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, both division winners. But this time, Lions have another home game. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. And they could have another one. We'll see how the Packers do against the 49ers if the Lions beat the Bucs, which assuming they will. Let's get into the breakdown. The question I have is, what do the Detroit Lions need to do in order to win on Sunday? And I think, Sam, for this discussion, you bring up the obvious stuff, right? Like, time of possession, winning the turnover battle, how are you on third down, both offensively and defensively? Like, all that stuff matters. But I think the biggest part to me offensively is getting this run game to be back to what it was earlier in the season when you had Jameer and Dave Montgomery. Even when when you guys tune into the Sunday pregame show, Booner would always say a great guarantee is banking on David and Jameer to both have 40 yards. You could bet on that. And it seems like lately it's been one or the other. You want these guys to get back to what they were doing. And the offensive line's healthy, which is great for the Lions. This team goes as the offensive line goes. But offensively, to me, it starts with those two running backs. The best running back duo in the NFL against this front seven. Because Tampa, defensively, they're a good football team. I mean, even the secondary, last handful of games, they haven't allowed a 300-yard passer. They're one of the best run defenses in the league. But, again, we've seen this story play out before, and the argument I always make is, have they seen an offense like this? And the last time they faced early on in the season at Tampa Bay, Baker, it was his only game without a touchdown when he threw interceptions. So, offensively, it's getting back to the run game, and then defensively, I just brought it up with Baker. You gotta get a takeaway. You gotta force turnovers here, because they did a really good job of that in Tampa, and it's something that the Lions defense, that's their bread and butter, right? You're giving up all these yards to number one wide receivers, but if you take the football away and you're good in the red zone like they've been, those two things, you could get away with it. I mean, Mike Evans can have 150 yards and you could still win the ball game depending on how you do in the red zone and if you take the football away, which I think defensively they can get back to. Pressuring Baker Mayfield obviously matters. James Houston's back. Great news. Aiden Hutchinson, the way he's playing, and now you just add in a guy in James Houston who, again, should we expect what he did last year? Maybe not, but he certainly could. He certainly could enter this game and end with a sack. I mean, that's just James Houston. So offensively, it's getting back to the run game and making it efficient, especially on first and second down, making it easy on Ben Johnson and Jared Goff. And the other thing defensively, like I said, is takeaways. And then, of course, getting after the quarterback. Because I think this Buccaneers offense, you'll see about midway through the game, if not after the first quarter, they're going to turn into a one-dimensional offense. They're not going to be able to run the football. And Baker Mayfield could have 35, 45 pass attempts, which what? Increases your chances of getting a takeaway. So to me, those are the two biggest things on both sides of the ball. The run game on offense, and then, of course, getting after Baker and forcing takeaways on defense. If they don't do those two things, the crowd at Ford Field will handle the rest. The false start penalties, the players on the field not being able to hear each other, that the crowd will take care of that. But Sam, those are the two biggest things, in my opinion, in order for the Lions to leave on Sunday with a victory.
Yes, and to further your point about the running game, the last time the Lions faced the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I know this was a long time ago, I know this is week 6, and it's not necessarily indicative of what will happen today, but the Lions, they had their worst rushing output of the season, but it was because David Montgomery went down early in the game, Jahmyr Gibbs didn't play the whole game, and Jonah Jackson didn't play the whole game, so it was basically Craig Reynolds toting the rock the whole game, which, no disrespect to Craig Reynolds, that's not exactly what you want, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they probably felt good after that game, but I want the running game to really make their presence known in this one. This isn't the same one that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers many weeks ago faced. This is Jahmyr Gibbs. This is David Montgomery. This is the best offensive line in the NFL, fully healthy and going, and I expect at least a very good day from the run game. I'm not saying they're going to get 175 yards or anything like that, but if they could combine for $120 at least, that wouldn't shock me at all, and I think that would be a good formula to winning. And another thing that I think could be a key to victory, and this is something that we've mentioned a lot, but I went back and dug a little bit deep into the numbers surrounding that. So since week 10 of the NFL season, this is where the Lions, I know they had that bad performance against the Ravens, but for the most part, early on in the season, the Lions defense was pretty good. This was the point, coming off the bye week, their first game being the Los Angeles Chargers, this is when you really saw number one wide receivers just give the Detroit Lions fits. And it happened many times throughout then till the last game against the Los Angeles Rams. You go back to, but there's a certain formula that you kind of notice in each of these games. And it never really cost them too much. You look at the first game, Keenan Allen against the Chargers, 11 receptions for 175 yards and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, Keenan Allen went off. But the running game only gave you 98 yards on 3.5 yards per carry. And I understand 98 seems like a lot, but 3.5 yards per carry, you would take under 100
Absolutely.
for under 4 yards per carry any day of the week. And I believe their second leading receiver that game was Austin Eckler. I think he had in the 40s. So one guy went off, and that was just about it. And obviously I know that in order to win games like this, you need a great offense, which the Lions do have, by the way, and you need to do things like, for example, they actually turned Justin Herbert over once, and the Lions ran the ball a lot more effectively than the Chargers, but it just seems like a formula, and you'll notice it. Versus the Saints, Chris Olave, 5 receptions for 119 yards. Their second leading receiver was Alvin Kamara with 58, and they ran for 113 yards, but on 36 carries for 3.1 yards per carry. It's another thing of limit the run game. Maybe one guy goes off, but nobody else goes off. But then you look at the first game against the Vikings, and this is an interesting case, but you'll notice something. Justin Jefferson in that game, 6 receptions for 141 yards. He obviously went off. We know that. KJ Osborne also had 5 for 95. So 2 people went off in that game. At least by KJ Osborne standards, he definitely went off. But do you know what they gave you on the ground? 11 carries for 17 yards. Ooh. So the Lions gave them nothing that day. And oh, by the way, of course, Nick Mullins threw 4 interceptions. So I guess my point is, and I'll continue. You go to the Cowboys. That was a game where there was some controversy, I will say. CeeDee Lamb, 13 catches for 227, obviously phenomenal. Their second leading receiver was Brandon Cooks, 5 for 60, and their running game gave you 21 carries for 61 yards. Obviously not a good day. And the Cowboys, they were able to intercept Dak once. They were able to make CeeDee Lamb fumble out of the end zone. But yeah, if one receiver goes off and the running game doesn't, it's usually a pretty good formula for the Lions winning. You saw it again in the second time against the Vikings. Justin Jefferson, 12 for 192 and a touchdown. Their second leading receiver was Johnny Munt with 5 for 58. And their running game gave you 22 for 89 on 4 yards per carry. Not the best performance by the Lions rush defense, but you take this any day of the week. And we obviously saw last week at Ford Field with Puka Nacua gave you 9 for $181 and a touchdown. Demarcus Robinson was your second leading receiver with 44 yards. Their rushing attack gave you 17 for 68, 4 yards per carry, which is good, but 68 yards is not good. And as we all know, Cooper Kupp gave them nothing. But in that stretch of those 6 games where receivers just continued to burn to make the Lions cornerbacks more often than not, Cam Sutton burnt toast. The Lions are 5-1 in those games, and the Lions are also, there's a big asterisk on the loss to the Dallas Cowboys. And when you look at the games that the Lions have lost this season, 3 of them, the Packers, the Bears, and the Ravens, those are 3 of the games in which the Lions had some of their 3 worst days defending the run. Obviously, the game against Lamar Jackson, Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, they went off. In the game against the Chicago Bears, we saw DJ Moore run for a touchdown. We saw Deontay Foreman have a big day, and we saw Justin Fields have a big day. And then you even look at the game against the Packers early on. Jordan Love was slinging it. We all saw it, especially to Christian Watson. But Jaden Reed and Jordan Love combined for 5 carries for 55 yards. They made the plays on the ground when they needed to. So I think this could happen again. I don't think Rachaad White is going to do a damn thing on the ground. The Buccaneers have the worst rushing offense in the NFL. I could see a performance kind of like the Lions gave up in the first game against the Vikings, something like 11 for 17. And I don't think that's too crazy because the Buccaneers rush offense is not very good. Mike Evans might go off, Chris Godwin might go off, but that's okay. Just as long as they continue to limit the run, as long as they don't let quarterbacks spread the ball around too much, maybe just let one guy really beat you, it hasn't really cost the Lions. And I understand they need to create some turnovers, they need to play good red zone defense, the offense needs to be clicking on all cylinders, but I think they're capable of doing every single one of those things, and I think that is going to be the number one formula to beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Trisha Miller, Jared says in the chat, Jared has to maintain his composure. They are coming for him. Jeff Olson says the Bucs don't give up on the run. They're stubborn about it, especially when they have a lead. And I certainly don't think the Bucs are going to bail on the run. It wouldn't help their chances at all. But KG, to Sam's point, like Rachaad White as a pass catcher is dangerous, but running the football, they're near last in the NFL, and it's a bad matchup for them facing one of the best run defenses. And I think they continue this week. I think for them, their path to win is going to have to be on Baker.
No, absolutely.
Making plays.
Much like last week, we're going to make this team one-dimensional. I see it. There's no way they're going to be able to get much of anything on the inside. What I really look forward to is kind of my key from last week: protect the red zone. The Lions are a leaky faucet in that secondary right now. We all know that. But the only way that you can really limit that is by stopping the touchdown, making sure you limit some of those touchdowns to field goals. If you protect the red zone in this game, it doesn't matter who the hell goes off. We should be just fine. On offense, my key is what was my key on offense? Oh, my key on offense was attack the secondary. That's their weakness. And you want to see Jared Goff really get out there and sling it in this game. I don't think they have an answer for Amon-Ra St. Brown. And even if they do, that'll open up things for Laporta and J-Mo. So I expect JG to go out there, attack that secondary. The run game will handle itself. I'm not so much worried about that as long as the offensive line plays well. But JG definitely want to attack that secondary. They do have some talent in that secondary, but I feel like our passing game is no real answer for it in this game.
Matt Verville says Bucs suck in the red zone. They will move the ball between the 20s, but they can't finish. And he's not wrong at all. The Bucs offense, at least in the red zone, they're 30th in the NFL. The Lions are 3rd.
And what was the biggest reason why the Lions beat the Rams? Because they stopped them in the red zone. And then Lions, of course, on offense, when they got to the red zone, they scored touchdowns. So that bodes pretty well.
And here's an interesting matchup that I think will be very important this week. I just mentioned the Lions are 3rd in red zone efficiency offensively. The Bucs defense, 3rd in red zone efficiency. So they're a good red zone defense. So that's going to be a great matchup. It's almost bad on bad, good on good. That's how it seems, at least by the numbers. But we know this Lions defense, bend don't break. Mike Evans, JB, nothing you can do about him. What you can try and limit is if you give up a big play here or there, okay, as long as they don't go for touchdowns, but you got to limit to some extent the big plays. That's just what it comes down to.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. You have to limit those big plays, which I think, is going to be a tough task. Once again, this will probably be like a similar matchup with the Rams as well, too. Like Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, they're going to get theirs. But as you said, it's that bend but don't break. I do believe that Aaron Glenn will actually sit here and see what's wrong with the defense and make adjustments quicker than he did in the game previous. But still, at the same time, you cannot just sit here and just give them so much open space. So I do think this will be a confidence boost for our defense because I believe in them a lot. But at the same time, these are 2-star wide receivers, once again, that are going out there on the field. So you have to be aware and have all eyes on them. So CJ, GJ, I'm counting on you, my dude.
Brian Ruth says, like every week, every NFL team can run the ball until they get to Detroit. That's how it's been, to be honest with you. Yeah. It's like, this team can run the ball. Oh, no, they can't. Like you said, 11 carries, 17 yards. It ain't happening. Brad Hendricks says, this is the worst game of the 4 this weekend. Not worse for us, but worse because it'll be a blowout. And this kind of ties back into what we discussed last week, KG, when we had the discussion, because certainly I think this game could get out of hand. I do, because of this Bucs offense, at least for the Lions. If they win the coin toss, KG, I'm Team KG. You take the ball.
Take the ball.
Just because of how I'm convinced now.
It's been working.
It's just been working. And you set the tone immediately and kind of force this Bucs offense to kind of play from behind. Like, hey, you're down 7. You can't barely run the ball. Let's see what you got.
And that just shows how much confidence I have in Jared Goff at this point to lead the team down the field on that first drive.
And usually the first drive is like your best scripted plays.
Yeah.
And of course, we know how Jared Ben Johnson, we know how efficient this offense is on scripted plays, definitely. So if you win that coin toss, you take that football, you go down and score, you punch them in the mouth, and you let, hey, Buccaneers, see what you got. They can't run the ball. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Kate Otten, even Trey Palmer, Lucas Klotz's guy making some plays. Let's see what you got.
Miller said, yes, they are going to be coming after Jared Goff. So he has to sit there in the pocket and kind of play with a little bit of confidence. Antonio Whitfield Jr. is the best player on the Bucs team. Regardless, I don't care about anybody else.
Right.
You have to watch out for him.
I will say, though, still think Amon-Ra should have made a Pro Bowl over him. But regardless, who cares? It is what it is. Funny story, too. Antoine Winfield Jr. did make the Pro Bowl, but he's an All-Pro. So it's the same situation there. I was watching Tim 21's podcast, and they brought that up. I was like, oh. So they got another guy. It happens more than just to the Detroit Lions. This happens because Antoine Winfield Jr. is a dude. He's one of the better safeties in the NFL. Silence says it could be the Lions getting blown out. I see, and maybe I got to watch here before I sound biased, but I don't see that with how good their offense is. I think even if the Bucs offensively are just getting everything they want and they're scoring at will, I think the Lions will be able to match that. Just because of, again, this offense all year. Yeah, there are times where you're watching the offense and you get frustrated. Yeah, but they're still one of the best offenses in the NFL, and they're playing really well as of late. Can they fix the things they weren't able to do in the second half of last game? You hope so, but I don't see the Lions getting blown out.
No, I don't either. And for the record, I'm not really down with the Lions are going to blow them out. It's going to be 38-10 or something like that. But at the same time, I'd feel pretty confident that the Lions don't get blown out, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Lions win kind of comfortably. But as in terms of like, oh, it's not going to be an interesting game. It's just going to be a blowout. That's where you get called kind of uppity and annoying. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
not trying to be a dick.
I'm just kidding.
Not trying to be a dick.
And I think the Lions they're better prepared and they're better suited to play from behind. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Even if they do fall behind, I think the Lions will be better off there. Again, like I said last week, and this applies to every week, I don't give a damn how much you win by. Win by 1, like you did last week. Win by 2. I don't care. Go to overtime and win. As long as they win, who gives a damn about the style points at this point? Like, you're in the playoffs. You just want to win in advance. Izza says, Baker will have a hard time communicating this Sunday from the crowd. What I'm worried about is Baker on the run. We all know our history with struggling with mobile quarterbacks. And yeah, Baker's not, obviously he's not Justin Fields, but Baker can move a little bit. And not just scramble for a first down, but he can move out of the pocket, extend plays. So I'm telling you, this pass rush, I mentioned it when I mentioned the keys to victory, because I think they're going to stop the run. You're going to force the Bucs, Baker, to drop back. This pass rush is so important this week. Aiden continuing to play how he's played, and they're going to move him around. They're not going to put him against Tristan Wirfs. They're going to move him around to the weak spots of that offensive line. And they got James Houston on third down, Aleem McNeil. And I said it earlier this week, I think an X factor for this game is going to be Aleem McNeil. Certainly. Because if you're pressuring Baker up the middle, now you got a Houston and Aiden to clean this thing up. And I think that's the best route to victory there. Coach Walk 37 says it's not going to be a blowout. David says a lot less pressure this week after getting that first playoff win. That is true. David Witt says defensive players we shut down this year: Khalil Mack, Nick Bosa, Daniil Hunter. Wait, defensive players we shut down this week or this year? We didn't play Nick Bosa.
Nope. Joey. He
Bosa.
Meant Joey.
Oh,
yeah.
Joey.
Joey.
David, yep, my bad on that.
And I'd be a little careful with shut down Max Crosby. Don't be a count the sacks bro guy.
Yeah, well, Aaron Donald, Vita Vea. Want to add another to the obituary. Well,
Yaya Diaby. Nothing.
Yeah, you know what's funny?
Diaby.
You brought up that name, and I'm like, I heard of him, but I don't know much about him. Did my research. He barely played against the Lions that first game, and he started playing after, and he leads the team in sacks. Yeah. So that's another guy you got to watch out for.
Couple players on that defense weren't available for the first Lions game. That's all I'm saying to Yaya Diaby.
Yaya Diaby.
Hey, you guys laughed when I said his name, and you see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers sack leaders, and Yaya Diaby is right at the top of the list.
Yeah, Yaya Diaby.
Right
Trisha Miller says Pascal needs to have a big game. McNeil will be a key. You guys know how I feel about Josh Pascal. It's like an ex-girlfriend that won't return my calls. I'm just like trying to reach out to. I'm still supporting Josh, and he's just not getting me anything back. And he's been playing better, but man, maybe I simped a little too much for Josh all year. Man, I think I'll do it again. Yeah. It's like what we do with J-Mo. Big game this week, right? Every week, big game from Josh Pascal. I think if this week he does, yes, he will be the difference. I do. Danny G says we didn't shut down Max Crosby.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Max Crosby had a hell of a game. He just didn't have any sacks, so therefore he played terrible. Those are the rules, right?
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that feel that way, even some in this room.
Kiazi says we're fine. Fans are just nervous, excited. I'm not worried. They got beat by a depleted Lions team in Tampa. It really wasn't even that close. And I want people to realize you could make an argument for both sides. You can say for the Lions, they missed a lot of key players. David went down. They didn't have a run game. They had Craig Netflix Reynolds, who had a hell of a block, by the way, in that game.
He did.
But they couldn't run the ball. They didn't have Jonah Jackson. They had some guys out defensively. But then you go to the Bucs, and you're like, they're not close to that team you played week 4. Like, they're much, much better. They've won 5 of the last 6. Their secondary over the last stretch of games hasn't allowed a 300-yard passer. Jared had over 300 yards against them in Tampa. So it's not about who you play, it's when you play them. And I think both teams are, again, if you make it this far, you're playing your best football. These are two hot teams facing each other. So, again, I don't want to disrespect the Bucs, but I do think the Lions are just better, man.
Yeah,
they
are
are
the superior team.
They are. No question about that. Let's head to break. When we come back, I want to talk about Jared and ask the question, what are your expectations for Jared Goff this game? What do you need out of Jared in order to be satisfied this week? They're going to cheer his name again. He's back at Ford Field. He's coming off a great game last week against the Rams, zipping it. There's no storylines about facing his former team. That's over. The pressure, at least from that, and the questions he was getting, is no longer a thing. So what are you expecting out of Jared Goff? And do you need another big performance out of Goff? We'll have that discussion when we come back. And I do have a stat I want to show you guys about Jared Goff in the wintertime. You're going to want to see this. First, though, got to hear about our friends from Dispo.
Experience Dispo Dispensary, a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere. Dispo is now giving out 2 tickets plus hotel and flight accommodations to this year's big game in Vegas. Go on Dispo's Instagram page at dispo.michigan and follow directions on the pinned post. Or scan the QR code and it will take you there. Let's get you sports fans to Vegas. Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Cannabis!
Have you ever wondered where all the finest restaurants get their steaks? It's Fairway Packing Company, providing Michigan restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef for over 60 years. But now you can buy these cuts of meat for yourself at the Steak Shop by Fairway Packing Company. Prime porterhouse, A5 Japanese New York strip steak, dry aged Wagyu beef tomahawk. Delicious. Get to the Steak Shop today. Enjoy fine wine, have a private party, and get the finest cuts of meat anywhere. The Steak Shop on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe Woods, or order online, fairwaypacking.com.
At Planet Fitness, you can get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this?
You don't know how to use it?
This is better.
Join now through January 19th for just 24 cents down, $10 a month. Never intimidating, always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Join today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal extended through January 19th.
Over 50 Metro Detroit locations.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
Breaking down Detroit Lions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a chance for each team to make the NFC Championship game. Second time, at least in the big game era. Can't say that word, I guess. Screw you, NFL. The big game era. The Lions have an opportunity to make the NFC Championship for the second time, and we're breaking it down. I want to bring up Jared Goff. And JB, you have the graphic of Jared in wintertime?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and I'll show this first, and then we'll get into the discussion. Jared Goff, I wasn't familiar with their game in the winter. I wasn't. And check this out. This is what he's been doing, and this graphic was put out. Jared Goff, December or later career with the Lions. Record 13-4, tied for 4th best in the NFL. 264 passing yards, tied for 7th in the NFL. 7.7 pass yards per attempt, 5th in the NFL. Look at that pass TD interception ratio. 34-6. Second in the NFL, and 105.3 passer rating, 3rd in the NFL. And these people really want an outdoor stadium. Not you guys, but, I've heard that discussion. No, Ford Field, I love it. In wintertime, it's just better. It is just better. It really is, especially for the passing game. You see it right there for Jared. Balling. So that's great news. And he had a great game last time they played the Buccaneers, and that was in Tampa in some great weather. So you're indoors, and I think Jared has another opportunity. Now, before, I want to show that and how impressive he's been, and then I'm going to go the complete opposite way and say the same thing I said last week. I don't know if you need a huge game out of Jared this week to win. I don't. I think you can, if you're Jared, he can get away with a similar game than he had last week, right? What was he? Had 200-something passing yards, 1 TD pass, and look at how they looked. The offense was efficient. I know the second half they didn't play well, but the first 3 drives, they played really, really well. To me, it's going to come down to that run game, like I said before. But Jared, the only thing I ask of Jared, and I know this sounds repetitive, but it's so true, no turnovers. Play clean. Because in the playoffs, turnovers count double. They mean even more. They mean twice as much. And they could hurt you twice as much. And that goes for any game. I mean, this is the playoffs. It doesn't matter who it is. If you go in San Francisco, the media market over there, you go to Wisconsin, you go to the media market over in Green Bay. They're all saying the same thing. No turnovers, no turnovers, no turnovers. So for Jared Goff, and he's done a really good job of not turning the football over, this week, that's going to be everything, because that's how you let an inferior team like the Bucs in through the back door. If you're giving them short fields, you're turning the football over. And it's not just Jared. Last time they played the Bucs, Dave Montgomery fumbled the football before he got injured. So it's not just Jared. It's this offense taking care of the football, winning the turnover battle. And I think if Jared Goff plays a game similar like he played last week, he was zipping it. He was. And you want him to still play with confidence. You don't want to repeatedly tell the man, don't turn the ball over, don't turn the ball over, where he gets hesitant. But he's just got to take care of the ball. And if he does that, Sam Flannel, I think the rest will take care of itself for the Detroit Lions. I have that much confidence in this offense. They're not any specific guy dependent. They're efficient. They're going to utilize David, Jameer. You have Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and Sam Laporta, who are going to live in the middle of the field. You got Josh Reynolds and maybe Jameson. You have an ability to take a deep shot downfield with him as well. So for Jared, all I ask, like I asked last week, don't turn the football over and get the ball off quickly. Because when you drop back, this Bucs front seven, they blitz more than any team in the NFL. It's coming. And you're going to have opportunities. What happens when teams blitz? You got to punish them. You have to make them think. If you're going to blitz me and you send 7 and we have 6 blocking, I'm going to take a shot to Jameson. And that's how you get in a team like the Bucs defensively. That's how you get in their head, is you have a threat like a J-Mo. So for Jared, it really comes down to that. Play clean, get the ball off quickly, take a shot if it's open.
Well, yes. The reality is that if Jared Goff plays the same game that he played last week or anything any similar, the Lions can win the whole goddamn thing, because he was efficient, he was clean. When he had no pressure, he was literally perfect, 22 of 22, which is really impressive. Obviously, he wasn't great when he was pressured, but at the same time, we all know what this Lions offensive line can do. We all know that guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown can get open very, very quickly and often. So as long as the offensive line keeps them protected and Jared Goff continues to play within himself, which is not a discount, by the way. It's just you never want to not take what the defense gives you, and that's basically what Jared Goff is great at and has been great at over the last couple of years, and I give him a lot of credit for that. We all know that in the Lions' last game at Tampa Bay, Jared Goff had, to me, the best game of his entire career. It was a game where the running game wasn't working, and he gave you 353, 2 touchdowns, no picks on 30 completions, and basically offensively almost won the game just through the passing game alone. And Amon-Ra had a big game, J-Mo had a big game, Josh Reynolds gave you 50, Sam Laporta was productive as well, and Khalif Raymond. And you see that in that game he was just he was basically spreading the ball around, but obviously his number one favorite target was Amon-Ra St. Brown, because he gave you $124 in that game. I think the only thing that could really disrupt the pass game, because I'm not worried about the corners. I'm not worried about Jamel Dean. I'm not worried about Carlton Davis. Jamel Dean's okay, but their cornerback duo is similar, maybe slightly a little bit better than the Detroit Lions one of Cam Sutton and whoever is Vildor or Jacobs or whoever to the opposite of them, but it's not great. They're only really, like we've all said, the player on the defense, the player on the whole team that probably scares you the most is Antoine Winfield Jr., and he's been absolutely huge this year. I would say the one thing to look out for, if you're Jared Goff, if you're Ben Johnson, if you're just this whole passing game as a whole, we all know that Todd Bowles likes to dial up some intricate blitzes, I will just say. And we saw how it rattled the Philadelphia Eagles from time to time. I know the Lions are better than the Eagles. They have a better offensive line, which is kind of crazy to say, but they do. But that is something you have to look out for, because you look at their pass rushing stats. 7 players have at least 4 sacks. They don't have like a superstar or anything like that. They're led by Yaya Diaby, who hadn't quite been integrated in the offense early on. He's a rookie, but ever since that Lions game, he's had 7.5 sacks. Antoine Winfield, when Todd Bowles has been blitzing Antoine Winfield has been an absolute terror. He has 6. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, he's another guy. He has 5. And then you look at Levante David with 4.5, Shaq Barrett with 4.5, and of course in the middle you got Vita Vea with 5.5 and Kalijah Kancey with 4. So as you can see, there are a lot of ways in which Todd Bowles and this Rams defense can get to the quarterback, and obviously we know that Jared Goff isn't the best and most mobile when he's under pressure, so that's where the offensive line has to really show up and play one of their best games, which I believe that they will. I think the running game will support them a little bit more and keep the defense more on their heels, and obviously we all know Amon-Ra St. Brown, if he's single covered, he is going to get open. It's not if, it's when. Sam Laporta with another week of rest, he's probably going to get open, although he's still not going to be 100%. Jamison Williams even, you saw it in the last game against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He might burn a defender deep, like a Carlton Davis or a Jamel Dean. It wouldn't shock me at all. And of course, Josh Reynolds, he's another one. Got a little momentum going. You saw what he did in the first quarter against the Rams. He had one of the best games of his life. So I think this passing game is going to have a good day. I think the running game is going to support them a little better. The only question is, can the Lions combat some of these blitzes? Because the Buccaneers, they don't have like a superstar edge rusher, but they have some dudes that can just get off after the quarterback, and Antoine Winfield Jr. has just been a blitzing demon, and we all know what he can do.
Yeah, Antoine, it's funny, last night just prepping, I went through Antoine Winfield Jr. because he's a terrific player. I didn't even realize how great of a year he's had.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
6 sacks, 6 forced fumbles, 4 fumble recoveries, 3 picks, and 12 pass deflections.
All over the field.
What the hell is this man on?
That man is a beast.
Yeah.
He's just like his dad. He's a beast. And you mentioned the combating the blitz, and that's why I mentioned the run game is everything, because how do you negate? It's obvious. It's the biggest saying in football. How do you negate a pass rush while you run the football effectively? You keep this front 7 of the Bucs on their heels, keep them guessing. I'm going to read some comments. People are chiming in with some thoughts, and I'll go to KG and JB on the Goff discussion. Extreme Shaft says Goff is the best quarterback in the league between the ears. Sappy Johnson says Godwin has a knee injury listed as questionable. Gritville says Rex Ryan talked about what I call the Lions' superpower, 4-minute offense. He quoted stat that out of 26 4-minute drives at the end of the game, Lions didn't give the ball back 23 times. Ugh. Championship football. George Eagle says let them blitz, give Monty the ball up the middle. Answer 14 says I just heard that Goff went in MCDC's office and said the pressure Jeff is putting on him is just too much. That's funny. Walter says play clean, but you got to stay aggressive in the second half instead of safe like we did against the Rams.
Yes.
Brad Hendricks says Jeff just said into the back door. Well, okay. See, you sickos, man. See, look at it the other. But that's how you let a bad team in, man. You leave the door cracked, and if you're turning the football over, KG, it can be a recipe for disaster. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank God he didn't lose that fumble last week in the Rams game. That was kind of like a brain fart. That was really his only bad play in that game.
Right.
Just trying to make something happen. But, like you guys said it perfect. We just need him to be efficient. But what I want him to be is not afraid, because he's got a hot hand right now. He still almost put up 300 yards on the Rams. I think he went for 277 and a touchdown. But man, he's feeling it right now. He's confident. He's throwing the ball very well. I want to see him go out there and attack that weakness, which is that Bucs secondary. He's going to play smart. We know that. He's going to make good decisions for the most part. And I think when they played the Vikings, that kind of prepped them for this blitz-heavy assault.
That's a great point.
Yeah, because I think the Vikings had like a 90% blitz rate on Goff in both of those games, and he had over 500 yards and a few touchdowns. So I look for Jared Goff to go out here and to challenge that Bucs defense.
Shiny for you, Jesus. I like that name.
Hey.
Bucs 2-7 versus teams with winning records, both versus 9-8 teams. They went 6-7 after the 3-1 start and won division via tiebreaker. Their win total and division crown are both fraudulent. And there is some truth to what he's saying, but we could say that, but the Lions players coaches cannot think like that. That's another recipe for disaster. Like, this team they ain't beat winning teams. Meanwhile, they just took down the Eagles. I know they're frauds. He is right, but again, Lions. I'm not worried about the Lions sleeping on the Bucs. I'm just not. Dan Campbell's proven that they're ready every single week.
And for the record, I did agree that the Buccaneers were a fraudulent division winner, and they built a lot of it after. It helps when you get to play the Carolina Panthers twice, although they struggled with them in the last game in which they needed that game to win the division.
9-0.
But at the end of the day, as much as the Eagles are frauds, as much as they did quit on the season, the Bucs beat a much more talented Eagles team by 23 points in a playoff game. At that point, if you go in and validate your division title that you won at 9-8 by having a double-digit playoff win, that shows that you're legit. That shows that you're somebody that can't be taken too lightly. So I was in your camp for sure, but I can't say that anymore. I mean, they destroyed the Eagles. Not that it's that hard to do anymore, but the Eagles are still really damn talented.
That's why it's not who you play, it's when you play them.
Yeah.
Like the Bucs won 9-0 to the worst team in the NFL, and then dropped a 30-piece nugget on the Eagles.
And Antoine Winfield saved their season by, of course, like DJ Chark. All he had to do was, hold on the football into the end zone, but Antoine Winfield Jr. forced him to fumble out of the end zone, and now we get Baker Mayfield in the playoffs. So thanks a lot, DJ Chark.
What about you, JB? Where you at with golf? What do you expect out of him this Sunday?
No, I believe you guys just said it all as well, too. You just want a clean game. There can't be any more fumbles. I know that the fumble he had last week didn't really cost us besides the yards, but still at the same time, it kind of backed us up a little bit to where, you're in these situations that you don't want to be in. So if he can just sit here and play a very clean game, which I think he can very well do, especially also given the fact that the Bucs are playing on a little bit of a shortened week as it is right now as well too, playing the Eagles on Monday. You're kind of guessing and thinking that their secondary, might have been gassed already. Like, you might have think they've emptied the tank as it is. So this could be a little bit of an easier test, but still at the same time, you can't oversee the Bucs and just look past them.
Yeah, quick point for at least for the defense of the Lions. You watch that Bucs-Eagles game. I think Baker, what do you have, over 300 yards passing, and about 200 and something yards came after the catch. Mm-hmm. So I think that speaks. You look at the yards and you just look at the stat sheet and you're like, wow, Baker played really well, and he did.
Yeah, a lot of missed tackles, though.
There you go. And I don't see that with the Lions. They're a much better tackling team, especially at linebacker, especially at safety. Now, we'll see in corner, like the Tutu Atwell touchdown. It was a great play, of course, by Matthew Stafford. But I think they're better suited for this type of thing. I don't see 210 yards after the catch. I just don't see it. That would be a disaster if the Lions are struggling that bad with tackling. The Eagles were really just that bad.
Yes, but guys, remember, it was Baker Mayfield's moxie that motivated the wide receivers. That's what it was, actually.
Yeah, it was grit. Actually, we own that term. You can't have that.
No more sarcastic Baker comments, because as much as I'm not a fan of his, I've said it before and I'll say it again. He had a very good season. He had a great playoff game, or I would say a very good playoff game, and his numbers were absolutely phenomenal when you just look at the numbers. And he is the next one that can play a major part in ending the Lions season. So you have to respect him. Doesn't mean I have to like him, but I just can't help myself sometimes.
Art says, did anyone see Kelly Stafford post another video on IG trying to say people booed at her kids? Just take the L and enjoy Cabo. Yeah, I mean, Art, I'm with you. I haven't even paid attention.
She posted another one?
No, yeah, I mean, I haven't really been paying attention to Kelly Stafford. I've been paying more attention to how salty the Rams and Vikings fan bases are on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
They're so salty. Like, that's why the whole point of, Lions are everyone's little brother, and now they're like, the little brother is grown up, and now he can beat your ass, and you're like, oh no,
right?
Like, now I hate this guy. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll get into the discussion. My favorite segment every Friday before games. It's who's the X factor,
Let's go.
Offensively and defensively.
I love that segment too.
We'll have that discussion. Put yours in the chat. Who needs to play well on offense and defense? Who's your biggest X factor? We'll have that discussion when we come back. But first, got to hear about our friends from Guardian Alarm.
Guardian Alarm.
Now, that's elite.
Yeah, if we had Guardian Alarm, that would be a hell of an X factor, or our superstar, dare I say. Because it's a new year, let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work, and people have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security expert.
Stay out, Baker Mayfield.
At work, and at home. We're there with smarter security solutions, featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing.
G-G-G-G-A.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. There we go. Oh, cheers, buddy. I think we need to get you a pick.
I mean, Lions fans know the type of beef C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Baker Mayfield have, but no beef compares to the beef at Fairway Packing Co. Because for over 60 years, Fairway Packing Co. has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry aged beef. You can experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Girls Point Woods for grab-and-go steaks. You can put them on the grill on Sunday when you're watching the game. Enjoy some of the best, the finest meats over at Fairway Packing. You can order online as well at fairwaypacking.com. We're back. It's time to get into it. If you're tuning in, we appreciate you. Thank you for choosing us this morning. If you do us a favor, hit the like button on the stream. Let's get to over 100 likes. Let's set the tone on this Friday. And also on top of that, if you missed the show, you can always go listen to the podcast. Available on any podcast platform. Morning Woodward Show. Find us and leave a 5-star review. Let's get into it. Who is the X factor for the offense and for the defense? And KG, you can put a little beat on this.
I got you.
Let's keep it upbeat. Let's keep it upbeat here, okay? We'll start offensively, okay? And I might cheat a little bit here because I'm not going to go with one player. I'm going to go with the offensive line, and that's an obvious one, but for two reasons. One reason is because we talk about how often the Tampa Bay Buccaneers blitz. They blitz more than any other team in the NFL, and on top of that, what this offensive line should be able to do in the run game. That's everything. Protecting Jared Goff, and of course, you could run the football effectively, especially on first and second down. I think the offensive line, they're important every single week. It's an obvious one. But this week, I think it matters even more. Keeping Jared clean is everything. Allowing him time for these routes to open up, these route concepts. So for me, offensively, I'm going to go offensive line, and that's everybody. It's an obvious one, but it's so true. Last time they played the Buccaneers, no Jonah Jackson. He's back. All starters are healthy, and I think that matters. I'm going with the offensive line.
Yes, that is a very good one. I am going to go with one Jahmyr Gibbs for a couple of different reasons. One, when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last faced the Detroit Lions, Jahmyr Gibbs wasn't even playing in the game. So it's somebody that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense and Todd Bowles and all of their players have obviously seen on film if they're doing their film study correctly, which I'm sure they are. But they never got that firsthand experience. And we all know the problems that Jahmyr Gibbs can give. And we all know that the Lions didn't have really any of their rushing attacks. So you're going to be getting a like lightning element from Jahmyr Gibbs, a guy who had 10-20 yard runs, a guy who had over 945 yards and 10 touchdowns back in the game, can do so much. And one thing that I found interesting about Gibbs this season, and I think something you saw in the Rams game could be a carryover into the rest of the playoff games, including the next game against Tampa Bay. In the last 7 regular season games, Jahmyr Gibbs only gave you 57 receiving yards total. One of the things that Jahmyr Gibbs hasn't done as well as maybe we would have thought this year is be a pass catcher out of the backfield.
Yeah.
But what he's done to make up for it is be a much better running back, be a pure back who almost gave you 1,000 yards, gave you 10 touchdowns, gave you over 5 yards per carry. But against the Rams, he gave you 42 receiving yards, including that one swing pass in which he dropped one early on at Chicago in which he had a wide open lane into the end zone. But this one against the Rams, he caught one. He made a couple of big moves and got more yards than I think that play was designed for, given what he was looking at with the defense. So to me, it is Jahmyr Gibbs without a shadow of a doubt. He is going to give this Lions offense a little bit of something that the Buccaneers have not seen before, at least from the Lions.
And I'm not sure if he's number one, but he was up there in 20-plus yard gains in the NFL.
He was number two.
Number 2 this year?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Big Game Gibbs, as I call him. They didn't like that nickname, though.
Yeah.
It sounded kind of corny, but hey, I like it, so I'm going to keep saying it. KG, offense, who's an X factor?
Hey, me and Sam is on the same wave with this. Mine was Jahmyr Gibbs as well, for all the reasons he said, but also the Buccaneers have not seen that kind of speed from this team yet. They saw a little bit of Monty, but he got hurt. But the element that they have not seen is Jahmyr Gibbs, so I look forward to him utilizing his speed, getting to the outside, and breaking off some big runs in this game.
Love it. JB, what about you?
Oh, man, everyone is in lockstep with Jahmyr Gibbs, so I guess I got to go a little bit different. Give me Jameson Williams.
Woo!
Okay.
Ric Flair.
The last time him and the Lions and the Bucs went up against each other, he had 2 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown, might I add. And I think Jameson Williams is going to be your X factor because he helps stretch the field. He helps Goff out a lot, and it's going to make this Bucs defense actually respect Goff in this passing game. Hey, if the first play out there, as KG said, we get the ball and Goff checks down and sees that, hey, they're blitzing, they're coming after me. You know what? Send J-Mo on the street. Boom. Down. It's all over.
I love it. Jameson, Jahmyr, 2 very important players, at least offensively. I'm going with the offensive line. Let's move to defense because there's a lot of different players you can go with, and I can't really argue with you. Me, I already teased it earlier, Aleem McNeil. I think he's everything. Now, Aiden Hutchinson, obviously, is going to help, but I think who could be the biggest difference is Aleem McNeil. What he does, his presence against that run offense for the Buccaneers, they're already one of the worst in the NFL, but I think Aleem McNeil, one more week healthier, shaking some more rust off. We know what he is as a run defender, but boy, if he can create pressure from the middle, that is going. Guys, you know how quarterbacks operate. They all hate pressure coming from the interior. It stinks. You have to move out of the pocket. It allows guys like a James Houston and A. Hutchinson to clean up the play. That's why I'm going with Aleem McNeil. I think both in the run game and the pass game, Aleem McNeil could be the biggest X factor on this defense, and that's who I'm going with this game.
Jeff, I hate to be a copycat, but it's Aleem McNeil.
I love it.
for a myriad of reasons, but I've got a few more which I think are interesting. The interior of the Tampa Bay offensive line is bad, and I'm just going off of PFF grades first. Aaron Stinney, 56.6, that's their left guard. Robert Ramsey, 52.8 PFF grade, and Cody Mock, Matt Broder's boy, his messiah, 44.7. Rookie Cody Mock.
Mock.
Hey, he has talked about Cody Mock and hyped him up, but Cody Mock has had he's a rookie, whatever, but still, it's the interior of the Bucs offensive line is not very good. And you know how I know that too, besides just PFF, the Buccaneers have the worst rushing offense in the NFL. So I think Aleem McNeil will be a linchpin in stopping those inside runs. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if Aleem McNeil made a huge play on Baker Mayfield, like maybe just like engulfed his whole body and maybe body slammed him legally, of course, and maybe forcing a fumble. That wouldn't shock me at all. And of course, we all know when Aleem McNeil is giving pressure up the middle, that will take some attention away from Aiden Hutchinson, who is on a heater right now and has had a phenomenal season, and one James Houston, who is coming back. So yes, to me, it is Aleem McNeil. I think this matchup means a big day for him.
KG?
Detroit, we have a problem. And it's a good problem, too. James Houston is my X factor, man. Now, I'm not expecting him to go out here and have a 3-sack game. But it seems like the Lions maybe could have, had him in the last game, but they've been saving him. So I'm excited to see what he goes out there and does. I feel like 1 sack would be more than enough for him to contribute in this game. So let me see what James Houston got, man. We've been waiting all year. Let's see it.
That's a good one, too. James Houston, man, if he looks like James Houston of last year,
man,
Tampa Bay, they got a problem.
Yeah,
that's a problem. JB, what about you?
Man, I don't mean to copy you, KG, but
hey,
the boys are in
gotta do what you gotta do.
We have a problem. James Houston, give me him as an X factor on defense. I mean, the Bucs have not seen him. As you know, he went down week 2 or 3. And I just feel like he's going to come back and want to prove himself, not only for this team, but also to prove that, hey, I help contribute to a lot of these wins. I'm not expecting a 3-sack game from him or anything like that. But, hey, if you can get one, I'm all good with that.
People chiming in, giving their pick. Lunchbox Hooligan says Gibbs and Branch are the true big X factors. Art says defense is Houston. We either need him to get after Baker or take in an extra blocker so Hutchinson gets loose. Kiazi, X factors offense, Ben Johnson, defense, Aaron Glenn. They were as well in week 6. Don't sleep on the coordinators. Silence says gonna go Josh Reynolds. He's gonna ball out again. Mike Bell says Cam Sutton. And then Don Beats also says Cam Sutton. If he locks down Mike Evans, we win easily. Don Beats. Let me talk to you for a second. Do you believe that? Do you believe that? Can Cam Sutton actually lock down Mike Evans? Just think about it for a second. Just think about it. Say it out loud and think about it.
Just think about last
Trust me,
week.
I love where you're going with it. But he ain't locking down Mike Evans.
Not at all.
He's not.
I wish.
And that's okay. Maybe a couple pass breakups. I'll take it. I'm just asking you, Down Beats. That's all.
Jeff, do you now see why the whole Cam Sutton thing was starting to get on my nerves? He was one of those people say that he's good because you think that he's good, and now you think that he can lock down Mike Evans. And for the record, he doesn't have to.
Exactly.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to.
But it's not happening.
Don Beats says that's a lot to ask. I know, laughing face. Yeah, and trust me, you're not wrong. If Cam Sutton has his best game of the year, it makes the Lions' chances significantly
I'll
better.
get on my knees and kiss his feet and apologize.
Hey,
I don't know if you would want that, but I would be willing to.
Hey Sam, you do whatever you want to do.
I want to see Sam do that.
Well,
just hug him like you'd hug Bron, you know?
Yeah, waist first, man.
Give him a waist hug.
Shout out Dime, man.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to say, because I just think Cam, man, he's not a CB1. He's not.
Yeah.
And he has to be for the Lions, man. Booner says Mike Evans is the best single coverage wide receiver in the NFL. Fun fact. I mean, yeah, he's 6'5", 4 speed. He's a problem.
He's been one of the best in the game since the day he stepped on the field. He's done something that literally no other NFL receiver has done. 10 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons to start his career. That just shows how great he's been, how durable he's been. Randy Moss didn't even do that at this point. We might see people like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase do that. But even a guy like Justin Jefferson, he only got it because he's a cyborg who got it in 9 games, but he still missed a lot of time due to injury. So shout out to Mike Evans. I obviously hope that he doesn't play a great game against the Lions, but I think he probably will. But the Lions will probably still win.
The interesting part about that, and at least about, and I see some people talking about it as well, mentioning Sam Laporta on offense. And I want to mention this really quickly. I think another guy that could have and we'll see what percentage he is healthy. But the Bucs defense, they're not great against tight ends. And that's a fun fact. So we'll see with Sam Laporta. Maybe even a little bit of Brock Wright. Who knows? But I think Sam Laporta, depending on how healthy he is, he can have a big game this weekend.
And one thing I have to say, because this guy kind of gets on my nerves from time to time. His name is Brian Ruth. Not my favorite, but valuable member of the chat. Cam will be fine. He does great when we have a pass rush. And I will say to that, and I'm not even trying to be snarky, is the pass rush looked pretty damn good the last 3 games, and you gave up big games to CD, Justin Jefferson, and Puka Nacua back to back.
You're not wrong.
Cam Sutton, with all due respect, and he wasn't the only one. Kendall Vildor wasn't great either, but Cam Sutton these last 3 games might as well change his nickname to Toast Sutton, because that's what he was. That was a little disrespectful.
See, that's where me and you, I'll be like, yeah, Cam Sutton's not a number 1 corner. He's a number 2 corner playing a number 1 spot. And you're like, he stakes. And I'm like, well,
that was my bad. I couldn't help myself with the one-liner, but
hey, but that's your thing,
Sam. The point is, though, is that receivers have went off these last 3 games. And as we all know, Aiden Hutchinson has 7 sacks in the last 3 games, and just countless other times where he's been in the quarterback's face. And if you even want to, you're not even going to count the one against Justin Jefferson, but that big tackle for loss in the red zone when Justin Jefferson was going to throw the ball, that wasn't a sack, but that was just as good as a sack.
Booner says, have we addressed Flannel shaving his playoff beard in the middle of a playoff run? What happened?
It wasn't my playoff beard, though. That's the thing. I had it beforehand. Maybe
Booner's he's very superstitious. He believes everything needs to stay the same, which I kind of agree. I'll be in the same spot as I was last week.
Well, and
I want to have blue hair, though. Sorry.
I'm superstitious, too, but at the same time, I also have my own systems of living. And the life system just said that today was the day to get to get a shave.
Let's see. Real cream of wheat says Sutton's still better than Will Harris. I mean, by
a mile.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. Answer 14. Sam wants to have meaningful relations with Hutch. I don't know if that's meaningful relations is like code word for like.
That's a pause.
He wants to like.
I'm gonna go ahead and pause that.
Oh. Funky says now all them big plays weren't on Cam. Not that he's been great. He does fine on mid-range and short routes, struggles on anything deep. And he is right about that. Cam, that's been his weakness. Like you watch, it's typically been, deep shots where it's like wide open, or Cam's a step behind. It probably goes back to speed. They just don't have speed at corner. They don't have guys that can go toe to toe. But regardless, that's something they're gonna have to work on. Ice says, give Gilmore a shot. Vildor's all or nothing approach to coverage is not working, and he's getting toasted. Yeah, I mean, there's no...
He does give his life for the ball.
Yeah, that's...
Sometimes to his detriment.
Yeah, that's just how it's been. Brian Ruth, not happy with you, Sam. He says, Sam is hot garbage. Worst part of the show, worst sports takes.
Hey, Brian Ruth, you're more Baby Ruth than Babe Ruth. That's all I'll say.
Oh, my God.
Get him, Sam. Wow. Talk your shit, Sam.
That is okay. That was kind of good though. I can't lie. Brian Ruth, I love his all caps takes. He does have some good takes. But you and Brian Ruth have beef.
No,
and that's okay.
I don't mind that necessarily. But when you do the all caps thing, Brian Ruth does it. Trisha Miller does it too. It seems like you're just yelling at me. Sam, you are hot garbage. It's like, bro, that's how I read it. And Trisha Miller does the same thing all the time.
Oh, I love it. The real K. Collins says clean shave is best for Sam. Danny G says Cam isn't meant for covering deep. Yeah.
Borderline pause. But
I don't know. I was thinking about that.
Borderline.
It's borderline.
We'll allow it though.
Yeah, you're on the spectrum. You're on the spectrum a little bit. Let's see. Drago says lack of height at corner also. Yep, that is a problem.
I see him coming.
Jake says, I don't give a piss about nothing but the pride. All right, that's a good way to go to break. Let's go to break. When we come back, we'll get into more of the breakdown. I'll mention the Ben Johnson stuff. AG and Ben are taking interviews, and it's so dumb in the NFL. This is an actual thing. They do the interviews in the middle of a playoff run, an historic playoff run for the Lions. I don't blame Ben, but it's just how this thing works. Seems almost a little intentional from other teams. Like, hey, can we meet on Friday?
Yeah.
Can we meet on Sunday before the game?
We'll definitely talk more about that. But because I am an honest man and I try hard to not be a hypocrite, I keep seeing in the chat, especially from Freddie Felt 313, that like Sam yells at the audience all the time, and it's like, yeah, I kind of do. I guess I have to be able to take it if I dish it out. So you got me.
Good revelation.
Yeah. You know what? That is.
I yell all
you know
the
what
time.
that is? It's accountability.
Accountability.
You just took accountability there.
Yep.
Good shit, Sam.
Thank you.
Let's go to break. Like I said, when we come back, we'll get into that discussion. Ben, Aaron, Glenn taking interviews. We're going to talk a little Hutch, and then we'll get to what's trending with JB and, of course, mailbag. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at Big Boy, because wintertime is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. You can try their Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl. They got classic potato pancakes and stuffed potato pancakes for dessert as well. You can top it all off with dessert, gingerbread shake for dessert. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Boner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Boner and Broder.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Let me tell you about our friends over at Jack Labrador. RIP is the message for today. To the same old Lions, and that's, of course, thanks to Sheila, Brad, and Dan for putting it all to rest. But right next to it in the grave is the old rock, paper, scissors. And Jack Labrador has revolutionized that tired game with 2 new symbols and a franchise-changing 3-point play. You can discover the action at jacklabrador.gg and find out why, once you go Jack, you simply never go back. Welcome back to the show. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. And before we get into the Ben and AG news of them interviewing for more head coaching gigs, I want to play this clip. And JB, I sent it in our morning show Slack, and I'll give you a second here. It's AG. Let me see if I made sure I gave it to you. Yeah, it's in there. And this was Booner actually sent me this to use on the show, so appreciate you, Booner. It's AG essentially talking about sending blitzes in the give and take of blitzing and giving up big plays and having to put corners like a Cam Sutton, like a Kindle Vildor, and one-on-one situations. So let's play this. Here's AG talking to the media.
You risk giving up some big plays, I guess, just being able to live with that, right? The comfort of knowing that we may give up 1 or 2, but we're going to get ours.
That's all part of it. If you do it, that can happen, and we know that. It's more my personality to be able to do that, and our guys know it. The thing is, you guys compete your ass off when you're in those one-on-one situations, and the football is a game of one-on-ones, right? But you do it within a team concept, and our guys understand that. So anytime they're in those situations where we're pressuring, you got yourself that one-on-one, you just got to win it, and they know it.
I think it makes sense. Like, if you're going to send 7, you're going to send 6, whatever it is. At the end of the day, even if they were, not only sending 4, you're going to get picked apart. So you might as well blitz, at least with this secondary, specifically at corner. So if you're going to blitz, that's the Lions' best route to victory. Just consistently put pressure on opposing quarterbacks. You're going to have to sacrifice big games of wide receivers. It's just that's the give and take of this thing.
Well, and one of the things that you've seen is Ife Melifonwu has turned into a blitzing demon in his short sample size as a starter, kind of like how Antoine Winfield Jr. is with Tampa Bay. I'm not saying Ife is Winfield, but you know what I'm saying. In a short sample size, he was a terror. And then you see, I think that helps out Aiden Hutchinson with more people when it's not just rushing 4 every time. And so that was the blitzing thing. Obviously, they're going to give up some big plays, but as I've said, once they started really giving up big games to number 1 wide receivers and giving up a lot of yards and even some points, they still win those games.
That's
5-1 with the 1 loss being a very controversial Cowboys loss.
That is the definition. That is the definition right there. You see it, the visual definition of bend don't break. Like big games, wide receivers still finding ways to win. Keep them out of the red zone. I want to get into the Ben Johnson AG stuff because it is now just been reported, at least for Ben Johnson. He's got multiple interviews over the next, couple of days here. And this was yesterday. It's 4 scheduled over the next 2 days, ahead of the Lions' biggest game in 3 decades. And shout out to Lions stat, my guy Danny Bennett. He does great work, and you can follow his page as well. But here's the tweet by Ross Tucker. Process is still flawed if one of the most important people involved in the Lions' biggest game in 30 years has 4 interviews in the next 2 days. Is he wrong? Not at all. And this isn't. And again, this might sound like, oh, you're biased because you covered the Lions. No, and I would say this about any assistant. If you're in the playoffs, Sam, there's no way you should be allowed to interview for gigs in the middle of a week for prepping for one of the biggest games. And I know it's a big game for the Lions, but this is a big game for any team. And the fact that you're allowed to interview in the same week is dumb to me because you can't wait a couple weeks.
Well, here's the thing, and
to start whole hiring process for all coaches.
I agree with you in principle, Obviously, we want Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn's full attention on the Lions and their game plan, their offensive and defensive game plan. And the reality is even if they are eventually, Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn, going to get their focus back and continue to game plan throughout the week, and obviously on game day, I think they'll be only thinking about the Lions. You're talking about an NFL head coaching gig. You're talking about one of 32 jobs in the entire world. You're talking about, for both of them, the pinnacle of what they could maybe accomplish in their entire coaching careers, being a head coach of an NFL team, that being a possibility. So at the end of the day, it's just tough, because are you going to penalize future head coaches for making it farther in the playoffs? I get it. In a perfect world, you would do the whole hiring process after the Super Bowl is over, no matter what. But these coaches, these organizations, these GMs want to get their coach in as soon as possible. So to me, as much as I don't like it, that's the cost of having good coordinators that are going to get head coaching interviews. It's just part of the job. I just hope that both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn are good compartmentalizers. I think that they will. They're both very smart guys. They're both, I think Ben Johnson's an elite coordinator. Aaron Glenn is a very good one. They both could end up being head coaches. It's just not a good situation. It's not the ideal situation, but I would like to, if you're that good as a coordinator, if you've made it that far in your profession, you have to be able to compartmentalize, and I just think that's what they're going to have to do.
Yeah, my problem with it, and I want KG and JB's opinion on this too. Like, my problem with it isn't just to coaches that are still playing. I think for all coaches, you could schedule interviews out, but you can't wait 2-3 weeks to start. I mean, what happens in a month?
Right.
But if you're hired now, or you're hired the next week, or being hired the next 3 weeks after the season's completely over, like, what changes? I get it. I don't get it.
I don't necessarily care for it either, but there is a level of strategy to it, because the real bad teams try to get a head start, on finding their coach, letting go of their original coach at the end of the regular season. But, I mean, it just is what it is. And it does suck, because we have two coordinators, one especially, that seems like they're definitely going to get a head coaching gig after this season. So it's just tough sledding, man. But that's the NFL. We got to just deal with it. Hopefully, Ben Johnson and AG can still, have time to do what they need to do on the prep side of things for the game and be able to handle that. But, I mean, what can you do, really?
Because free agency starts, March 13th?
Yeah.
It's like in March, and the draft's in late April.
Yeah.
So if you hire a guy in early February, and that's when you could start doing the interview process, and you still have a month to kind of get your ducks in order. So I don't know. That's just how I feel. And I know Jeff Olson said that the Bucs OC interviewed for the Panthers yesterday. So imagine the Bucs side. Yep. You have a day less to prepare. You're traveling, and your OC has to take an interview. And I'm not saying these interviews are 3 hours long. They could be 30 minutes. I just hate the concept of it. I do, especially when you're a guy like Ben, who's the hottest candidate available. He's going to interview with essentially like every team in the NFL that has an opening. And he's going to do that in, a week or two, right before the Lions are still preparing. Not saying it'll affect the Lions. I'm not saying that. I just hate it. It just seems like unorganized in a way, JB, but I get it, I guess. It's just dumb, in my opinion.
No, I mean, I completely get it. I completely agree with Ken G on it as well, too. All these franchises, they just kind of want to get a leg up on the competition as of right now. They want to get that head coach in place so they can start making their plans for their team, which I completely see and I get, but I don't think that it'll be a distraction for Ben Johnson or Aaron Glenn at all. And besides, as you said, you're not too sure of how these interviews go, whether they're actually flying out to these teams or maybe they're doing virtual interviews. You truly don't know. Maybe they, can completely understand that, hey, you're in the playoffs right now. You've got a lot going on. You got a lot on your plate, so we don't want to distract you from that. We just want to talk to you to see what's going on. But another thing that kind of pisses me off right now is I sent you guys this as well, but Aaron Glenn has a interview with the Atlanta Falcons, which I think is bullshit, because I know damn well that they're just going to hire Bill Belichick, and this is just a Rooney Rule type of thing, that they're just going through the process of interviewing a black African-American coach just for the time being. So that just kind of irritates me right now.
And that's a whole nother problem with what's going on. I get both sides. If I'm Ben, of course I'm taking the interviews. Like, you want an advantage. You want to have these interviews. You don't want to wait and you'd be at a disadvantage. I just hate I hate how it's set up. It's not Ben's fault or any of these coaches' fault. And I get the team's point of view, right? You want to get a guy in as soon as possible. I just think the NFL should be like, all right, guys, let's just start this process when the playoffs are at least over. Because again, like Ben, by the time he interviews with these teams, I'm sure it is virtual, obviously, but I'm sure it's at night when he's not even at work. So it's probably more about taking away from his free time. But still, to me, it's to be more organized. Just wait till after the Super Bowl. That's what I think. Right. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
At least Pro Bowl week or something.
Yeah, like more pointless week rather than like, I don't know, a game before, 2 days before. I don't know.
I'll get you.
Huge playoff game. Let's go to break here. When we get back, we'll get right into the Lions game predictions. It's time to give our final scores for the game. Comment yours in the chat. I'm going to read as many as I can. What's the score on Sunday? Lions, Bucs. Blowout, close game. Lions winning. You have the Bucs winning. God forbid. We'll discuss that when we come back. But first, got to hear about our friends from Swiss Insurance.
Do you have football on the brain? Of course you do. Going into the Lions' home playoff game in the divisional round against Tampa Bay Buccaneers and all that happened with Michigan football winning the Natty, it certainly has been an awesome football season, and fall is the perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
Again.
At Planet Fitness, you can get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this?
You don't know how to use it?
This is better.
Join now through January 19th for just 24 cents down, $10 a month. Never intimidating. Always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Join today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal extended through January 19th.
Over 50 Metro Detroit locations.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
We've just received word. The world's cannabis supply has vanished. The public is outraged and has taken to the streets in response to this tragedy. The individual responsible acted alone, and we can only hope they will make things right soon.
Hey, are you tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports merch? Well, it's a new era in sports wearables with amazing apparel and the ultimate swag. Check out Woodward Sports' latest gear at woodwardsports.com. Click on that shop tab. We've got hoodies, we've got tees, we've got hats, guaranteed to turn heads at your next tailgate. Check out the latest designs at woodwardsports.com. Click on that shop tab.
We're back. It's the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. It's been a fun show, and I'm excited. Nervous, but in a good way. Like, I'm ready for Sunday. I really am. It's going to be hard for me to sleep on Saturday just for my excitement. Let's get into the score predictions, because this is where we decide who wins and by how many points. Sam, I'll start with you. What score you got?
All right, so I know that I was one of those people that was a little bit cautious about picking a blowout. And I'm not picking a blowout, but what I am predicting is Lions 31, Bucs 20. I think the Lions will, for the most part, be able to move the football. I think Jared Goff has a big day. And with the running game all healthy, offensive line and running backs all healthy, I think that they have at worst, a serviceable day, but at best, I could see them having a big day as well. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown basically gets anything he wants. Sam Laporta is a little bit healthier. I think the pass defense will be able to withstand some of the blitzes, although it wouldn't shock me if the Buccaneers got home maybe once or twice, but as long as Jared Goff just accepts his 7-yard sack for a loss and doesn't fumble or doesn't try to force it into coverage, I think the Lions will be just fine. And as far as defense goes, I think it's going to play out a lot like some of the other ones did. I think Mike Evans has a big game. I don't think they run the football at all. And I think a couple of times in the red zone, which is why I got to 20, they'll score 2 touchdowns and kick 2 field goals, which will be one of the biggest differences in the game. And I think with the Buccaneers down 31-20 with about, 5 minutes left or something like that, Baker Mayfield throws a game-sealing pick to Brian Branch. Give me the Lions 31-20.
Nice. You know what's funny? I had the same Lions score. I have 31-17.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at. I mean, you have a comfortable win. Maybe not a complete blowout, but I do think it'll be a comfortable win for the Detroit Lions. 31-17. Everything I said earlier on the must-dos for the Detroit Lions, and I talked more about this on my podcast, Crunch Time, with Jeff and Booner and Mike Gentry. I have a video coming out actually at 1 o'clock kind of speaking more in depth about what I expect. The run game on offense is everything, and I think they'll get back to that, protecting Jared Goff. I see a great game from the offense. I see him scoring 31, so obviously a great day. Defensively, I think the Bucs, for the Lions, the Bucs offense is going to run into some problems because you can't run the football. They're not going to be able to do it efficiently. And on that, for Baker, I know they're committed to the run. Baker's going to have to drop back, and there's going to be a lot on Baker's shoulders. And with a lot more pass attempts comes a lot more opportunities to what? Take the football away. I see a couple turnovers from the Buccaneers, and I got the Lions coming out of this one with a win by, 14 points. KJ, what about you?
This is a tough one. I got to go with what the line is. I think it's 6.5. I got a little bit of a closer game, but 24-17 Lions.
There you go.
I think it's going to come down to the run game. Jared Goff is going to have a game similar to last week, but the run game is really going to be the key in this. They haven't had a full taste of this Lions offensive line and the run game, so I expect that to dominate. But yeah, let me get Lions 24-17 and on to the NFC Championship game.
Let's go.
Woo. What about you, JB?
I have a similar score as all you guys as well too. Give me the Lions 26, Bucs 13.
Ooh.
Ford Field is going to be rocking
like
once again, so that is definitely going to help out this team as well too. There's less distractions this week. As you know, last week we had Matthew Stafford coming in and, the back and forth controversy of, hey, should we cheer him? Should we boo him? But you don't have that this week. And I think the Bucs are very inconsistent in their plays from week to week. As you can see, hey, they barely won over the Panthers just to sneak into the playoffs, and then they blew out the Eagles. So this is going to be one of those weeks where we can catch them slipping once again, and it'll be this score. So give me the Lions 26, Bucs 13.
Nah, JB, real quick, you got 26-13. Did you have a safety in your game play out? I just wanted to know because I kind of I'm feeling a safety. I feel like the Lions might get a safety in this game. That's just me though.
You know what, KG?
You know what? Yeah, I like that. I like that.
KG cook. Let KG cook a little.
I'm feeling a safety, man.
Hey, you know what, guys? Jack Fox is gonna pin him inside the 10. And you know what's actually gonna happen? I'm gonna predict now how the safety will occur. Now I'm on the 26-6 train. Baker Mayfield, intentional grounding in the end zone.
Oh, I like that.
Nice.
You know what I like? You're gonna like this, Sam.
Uh-oh.
Put the camera on me, JB. This is my Jeff I Afraid to guarantee.
I afraid to guarantee.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson interception.
Ooh.
Book it against Baker Mayfield. And I'm going to come look you right in the face on Monday and say, ha-ha, I told you. Interception by C.J. Gardner-Johnson, because they're going to get some.
Yeah.
Whether it's Kirby, but I'm going with the man, the myth, the legend. Yeah, I'm hyping him up just to piss you off.
No, it's
C.J. Gardner-Johnson, baby. Maybe a pick 6.
It's time to play.
Book it.
It's time to play nice and get behind all of our players.
Book
I'll do that.
Book it.
He's standing down right now.
I'm standing on business.
Well, because I want him to do well, obviously. Because if he does well, it'll help the team out tremendously.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Yeah, Dan Orlovsky's going to be watching that game going, oh, shit, I picked this guy as one of the scariest quarterbacks. Damn.
It's crazy.
Well, that's the thing about that list.
And he wasn't even he's not even the best quarterback going into the game.
What's the thing about that list? And people might not like this initially.
Such a corny list.
But I don't necessarily have that big of a problem with Goff not being top 5. I think he's in the same tier as like Brock Purdy or Jordan Love. But Baker Mayfield is, and this isn't disrespect because obviously they made it this far. Baker Mayfield played a great playoff game. He's the worst remaining quarterback in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He just is.
Yeah, and that's not even like hating. That's just stating. Yeah,
I mean, they're in the divisional round, so they're all good to some extent. The teams are all good to some extent, but
And
he's the worst one.
I don't know if y'all saw this. I saw you had Jordan Love on the list. Did you know that C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love have identical playoff debut numbers? The only difference is I think C.J. Stroud threw for 2 less yards, but literally everything else is the same.
Even the quarterback
rating.
And everything.
And then look at the media coverage for both. Like,
right.
And I think Jordan Love, he's year 3. It's different, but it is technically his first year starting.
True.
So, like, call it a rookie year, even though he's had 3 years. CJ just walked in and was great. But
True.
You're right, KG. They were basically
playoff
similar
debuts,
games.
though, yeah.
Yeah, and I would even, I think I'd argue, too, on top of that Jordan had the tougher matchup defensively.
Absolutely.
So, hell. That's true. Let's read some score predictions, and we'll get to what's trending. I want to get through some. I can't read them all. There's a lot, but I'll try to get to as many as I can. Andy says 28-20 Lions, LFG. Coach Walk 37, 17-16 Lions. I hope I'm wrong, but it's he goes, I hope I'm wrong, and it's a blowout. Damn. Eric Allen, Lions 31-17. Smart man, Eric. He says each team scores 11 more points than the previous matchup. Justin says 31-17. Good guys. Justin Rogers 35-17. Goff throws for 3 TDs. Gibbs 1 TD. Monty 1 TD. Patrick 42-17 Lions. Jay Cruzen 34-27 Lions. Colton says 24-17 Lions. T-Stay Cold, Lions 31-17. A lot of 31-17s. Maybe I'm jinxing it. I don't know. But I like that. Maybe it's all destiny that they win 31-17. Don Beats, Lions 27. Moxie Mayfield's Bucs 17. Just a Fan, Lions 31, Bucs 17. Lunchbox Hooligans, Lions 34-14. Eric says 38-20 Lions. LFG says Bucs D forces 2 turnovers. Okay. Harry Clevin says Lions 54-19. Jesus. Matches 1957 championship win over the Browns score.
I would love that.
Michi Music 38-28. Wee Man 28-21. And Herb Nash 24-13. Lions get a defensive score. There you go.
Man, if they get a defensive
People
score.
pleaser says Stroud is better than Love. Jeff GTFO. I didn't say that. Yeah, he is. I'm just saying. Like, CJ Stroud is. He's hyped up and deservedly so, but it's just funny. Like, Love's kind of quietly has had a great year.
You know what it
I
is?
mean, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's better than CJ Stroud.
You know what it is? It's conditioning, because CJ Stroud,
Right.
he's out. There were some doubters before he was drafted to the Texans. When he was drafted to the Texans, one being Lucas Klotz, of course, but he's come around, and with what CJ Stroud has pretty much done the second he's went into the NFL, you can't deny that he had, in my opinion, and I think factually, the best rookie season ever, and it could get even better with a deeper playoff run. But when it comes to Jordan Love, we were conditioned that he was just the backup behind Aaron Rodgers. There's no way he could ever be good. Even at the beginning of the year, he had some struggles, but people just seem to have their blinders on a little bit to how well Jordan Love has played to end the year. I mean, he's as hot as any quarterback in the NFL. That's just facts. 21 touchdowns, 1 pick.
But people will say, people will pick the Packers against the 49ers, but like, why do you think they'll beat them? Because Jordan Love's balling. And the defense, obviously, and what but come on, like if they're going to beat the 49ers, you need another big game out of Jordan.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to happen. You know how I feel about that. Let's go to let's go to break. I do want to give our picks, because we haven't really done that for the NFL games this weekend. Maybe we'll do that at 9:50, and we'll do mailbag at 10. We'll go like 10 minutes over. We'll do that. So we'll go to what's trending with JB. Then we'll get to our picks for the weekend, and then we'll get to mailbag. We'll go a little over today because, hey, I take accountability for that. It's a day of accountability. First, though, I got to tell you about our friends over at Planet Fitness, because it is 2024, and with that comes a deal in which you only owe 24 cents. You put that down. Yes, 24 cents is cheaper than some of those gumball machines. You know, they take a quarter. 24 cents you put down for the new year at Planet Fitness. Get in there. New year, new look. $10 a month following that. It's cheap, but it's the best quality of a gym. They have everything you need. They have personal trainers at hand. It's clean. You got the tanning bed. You got the water massage bed. They got everything you need over at Planet Fitness. Neil Rule works out there. He's in Vegas, but I'm sure he's finding a Planet Fitness in Vegas. Like, they're everywhere. More than, I think, 50,000 all over across everywhere. You can find one in your local Planet Fitness. And like I said, 24 cents down and then $10 a month following that. Planet Fitness, your fitness is essential.
Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Boner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Boner and Broder.
18 locations, Feldman dealership. There's always one in your backyard. Visit FeldmanAuto.com to find the location nearest to you. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. Catch Woodward Sports Network live from Feldman Chevrolet every other Monday. It's that time. Check the clocks in your household. Check the watches if you're at work. It's time for What's Trending with JB. JB, what do you got cooking for us today?
Oh, man. Jeff, I'm going to need your Whoopi Goldberg hookup on this one.
I got you. What do you need?
Do you know the average ticket price for this Sunday's game between the Bucs and the Lions?
You'd think last week would be the more expensive game because of the storylines, but it is a bigger game technically. I'll say minimum. I'll go 600.
600?
That's
Sam,
my guess.
Sam, what do you think?
It's Price is Right stuff, but 600.
I'll go 800.
800. KG, what about you?
850.
850. 850.
Going once, going twice.
Sorry to bust your bubbles on this one, but yeah, that is a lot of money just to get into Ford Field. So that's why I said, Jeff, I need your hookup on this one, man. This is unreal.
She's a call away. She's a call away. That's all it is. I'll hit up Whoopi. We'll see if we can get organized here.
You'll see what you can do?
Yeah. I'll die. Hey, she could be a sugar mama for anybody. Whoopi's got money. So we can make it happen. That's crazy. $1,100. I mean, this is why, and I don't know if this is like, and again, I want Ford Field to be packed. So it's almost like I want people to buy these tickets, like go fill the stadium up. But then there's that, like, Jeff, coming from a friend perspective, like just talking to the people. Take that $1,000, $1,100, and take about $30, $40 of it, and just buy pizza and wings and sit at home.
Yeah.
And save the other $1,100 for maybe, like, I don't know, you can get a PS5 and a flat screen.
Yeah.
Or you can, I don't know, pay off all your bills for the month. Or, I don't know, you can go put that down in a new car at Feldman Chevrolet or Les Stanford. I mean, I don't know. You could do other things with it. But at the same time, I don't want people going away from the stadium. So that's just what I'm going to do.
I mean, I feel like it would be fun to obviously like what you said, just have a feast by yourself or with friends at your own home, not spend like a small percentage of it, obviously a minuscule percentage of it, and then the next weekend maybe have the greatest like bar weekend ever.
Or take the money and, I don't know, go on a cruise.
Or go on a cruise.
Watch it on a cruise.
Or accept your fate of living in your car for a while.
Don Beats says, or buy 5 strippers. I mean, that's on the table as well. I don't know.
That's a much bigger waste. No disrespect, but that's much bigger waste than mine.
I mean, as long as you have fun. That's all that matters.
JB, as long as you're all having fun. He's just, look at JB.
Could do about 25 different parlays on the game.
Oh, yeah.
One of them's going to hit.
Yeah, one of them has to hit.
One of them has to hit.
You know what?
Invest it.
Put that 1,100 and just put it on St. Brown having 100 yards. You know what?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a better.
Wouldn't that be funny if that was the game where he had like
99,
7 for 93,
right.
But the Lions still won.
Actually,
but it was
don't
like, no!
listen to that. Don't listen to me on that. I was kidding.
St. Brown for 70, just like alternate spread or whatever.
There you go. 70. That's book it. Jack Stark says, solid advice, Jeff. The Smoke says 1,200 at Dispo. You might be swimming in cannabis if you walk in there and drop 1,200.
You go for $1,100.
That's a lot of Honolulu Blue.
Yeah, you might be. You might be watching the game just high as shit, asking when does Barry Sanders come out. Like is he still playing? I don't know. That could be dangerous. You drop 1,200 at Dispo.
That could be very dangerous. But you know what else is dangerous? And you know what? You only have yourself to blame for this, but 15 fans were hospitalized from that Dolphins and Chiefs game last week. Due to emergency hypothermia and frostbite.
15?
Yeah, it's crazy.
15 people. You know what? You only have yourself to blame. You chose to go out here and watch this game. I haven't. Hey,
yeah.
You could have left at any point in time. You knew this game was not going to be great.
You ain't have to show up. Negative 15-degree wind chill? Come on now.
You know,
no.
The problem is that, you know, there were people who were prepared. They were wearing layers. They were bundled up. They were probably having the alcohol blanket, as they say, the liquid blanket with maybe some whiskey or something. But then there were others that were taking their shirts off. Even like a Dolphins fan was doing it, and that's like, I get the sentiment. I get that you want to be just the most epic, crazy fan, but in that degree of weather, that's dangerous. That could kill you if you're out in it too long. So
this goes back to my point. Like, sit your ass at home, get a heating blanket. Yeah. You know what I mean? Order some. It always goes back to pizza and wings, and watch the game. And then you could, when the game's over, you hit the off button, you get up, you do whatever the hell you want. Rather
nice
than being
warm.
But again, I don't want to take away the experience. I know people love doing that stuff. Personally, me, F that shit. I'm not going to any, like the Bills game. I know they're hiring, which honestly I appreciate the Bills for this. I know people got mad about it because they're asking fans to come shovel. They're paying them $20 an hour to shovel, and they get free food and drinks. Like, for people that don't really have, maybe they don't have the best job situation. Like, I think that's great. I know people are like, you lazy, go hire a professional company to go clean it up. Listen, those Bills fans are different. And
they all in.
And I think Chiefs fans are the same kind of category. They're different.
They was out there playing in the snow and shit.
Dude,
they was having a great time.
Did you see their seats? They're in like a little snow cubby. Like it's snow up to here, and they dug out a little spot for them to stand or sit. I'm like, you guys are psycho.
Well, Bills fans are uniquely, I would say, predetermined, or at least by their team's history and by the fact that they play in probably the worst climate, that to just inflict pain on themselves. I mean, they endured 4 consecutive Super Bowl losses in the early 90s. They've endured the, I would say, overall disappointing Josh Allen era. They haven't even gotten there. And, of course, they throw themselves through tables and they go out and support their team in this kind of weather. So shout out to you, Bills fans. I hope someday after the Lions get one, of course, that maybe the city of Buffalo can bless you with the Super Bowl.
Tables that were on fire, too.
Yes,
I
know.
Yes. Hey, you got to stay warm somehow out there.
I guess.
I mean, it's fair.
Come on. Tables that are on fire. What are we doing here?
Lloyd says you weren't allowed anyway, Jeff. That is true. So that's why maybe this doesn't apply to me. I'm not allowed in the near the stadium for obvious reasons.
Damn.
I'm just a bad. I don't know if you believe in that type of stuff, but I'm a bad presence. Like, the vibes are off. Vibes, baby. The Lions are all about vibes, and I'm a bad vibe in there. I don't know why. Every time I'm in there, some shit goes wrong. So I'm staying away from the stadium. I'm not going close to it. So it ain't on me. I'm just making that clear now.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm making it clear.
On you. It's not on you. And lastly, I got to show you this because, man, Ant-Man, I was not familiar with your game.
Moves by Edwards. Swashbuckling and sliding. Anthony Edwards skies.
Are you alley-ooped it to himself? My God. We could use this on the Pistons.
Yeah, well, Anthony Edwards is one of the more. He's only getting better. Mm-hmm. To me, if I could take stock in if you could, those little questions like who would you draft to start a franchise with. Like, yeah, you get to Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic, like the guys that still have a ton of basketball to play. Somewhere on that list, you get to Anthony Edwards. That dude he's Showtime. He puts butts in the seats.
He's obviously he's not on the top tier, but obviously given his age, given the fact that he's already ascending into being a star, and also the Timberwolves are good this year. And oh, by the way, just for the people who hate too much, Karl-Anthony Towns is having a pretty good season himself as the number 2 option. Ooh. Just saying. I know everybody thinks that he's trash, but he's a great player.
He's just not trash. He's just soft, Sam. That's the only argument we've had.
No, I understand that, but the Timberwolves are winning this year.
He's softer than Charmin.
Guys,
I mean, come on.
Karl-Anthony Towns is playing a role in them winning this year.
Okay.
He is. He's not their best player, but he's their second best player. And another people that people call trash all the time, Rudy Gobert, Spencer Raxter, he's having a pretty good year too. I fight to the death for Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy
I don't
Gobert.
know. You picked the weirdest hills to die on.
I swear.
That's why we love you, Sam.
Dabber, the best Anthony in the league. Yeah, the Anthony Davis derangement syndrome is actually a mental illness.
Yeah, well,
like you should get checked in the hospital, Dabber.
Oh my gosh.
No, for real. You've never had an original thought in your head that wasn't given to you by Neil Rule.
Street clothes Davis?
Are you defending Anthony Davis right
I
now?
love Anthony Davis.
Of course you do.
Love Anthony Davis. He's a future Hall of Famer. That's facts.
Barely.
No, not barely.
It's like you got lightning in a
First
bottle.
ballot.
You got
If
lightning.
he didn't get that chip, then no.
You got lightning in a bottle with Anthony Davis in the bubble, and then he just kind of.
Yeah.
He kind of what? He kind of what, Jeff?
You know.
He kind of what?
You know.
Has been great ever since. I know you guys act like he's just been trash ever since, but he's a damn good player.
He's one of the most inconsistent presences in the NBA.
He's great. In a 7-game series, he's great. Game 1, Game 3, in Game 5, and then Game 7.
But why is he able to average a
He might be
consistent
hurt
like
for Game
25 and 15? He's never missed a playoff game in his career. I've shattered that narrative again. Ha ha.
No,
Maybe he missed one. I think he missed one in that 1 year where LeBron went down. But other than that, he has never missed a playoff game in his career. Oh, but all he does is get hurt.
But the thing I will agree with Neil is that those jean shorts were rough.
Yes, they were.
The jorts were.
Yes, they were.
KD jorts.
Yes, they were.
Like, come on, JB. Come on. You see a man wearing jorts, like it
you
changes.
Like 7 foot wearing jorts.
It,
Come on now.
It kind of changes the respect level.
If I see a man wearing jean shorts, I'm thinking of John Cena.
Right.
So that's just me, but that's what's trending with JP. Back to you guys.
Like, JB, if I walked in the studio in like the summer and I had jorts on, like there's no way you would look at that and be like, man, you have to be like,
personally, I'm going to flame you. So I'm just letting you know.
What'd you say?
I said, personally, I'm going to flame you.
Okay,
so.
there you go. CKG, I want the honesty. Like, don't let him get away with jorts. You kidding me? Let's go to break here. When we come back, we'll pick around the NFL. We'll give our picks, and then we'll get to a little bit of mailbag, then we'll get out of here. We got to hear about our friends from Premier Pet, though.
Hey, speaking of good pets that I'm going to raise to love Anthony Davis just like me, my golden retriever Jake and my orange cat.
Just change Jake's name to AD. Did you do that?
I probably should, actually. Give your pet the best like I give my pet the best. Like, making him watch Anthony Davis highlights, Mahomes highlights, LeBron highlights, and even Aiden Hudson and Lions highlights, of course, too, and Michigan highlights. Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences of the online and big box retailers, with one major difference. Family and locally owned and operated for 30 plus years. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. Same day, local, curbside, and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. Visit their website at premierpetsupply.com.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Yes, the Detroit Lions have won a playoff game. What does that mean? Another tailgate party. Join us for the Ultimate Lions VIP tailgate this Sunday, hosted by Bullseye Event Group and sponsored by Long Drink. All you can eat food, drinks, music, and excitement. Let's roar together down at Eastern Market. Bullseye is now offering a Lions ticket and tailgate ticket combo. Go to bullseyeeventgroup.com to get your tickets today.
We're back again. The Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. We're going to get our pick'ems in before we end the show here, and then, of course, we'll get to a little mailbag. But I just want to go around the room. We'll make this very simple, get our picks out into the atmosphere. We'll start with Texans-Ravens. Ravens at home, obviously, coming off a bye week. Texans, I know Baltimore's only favored by 9.5. It's actually a low over-under. Total points. It's 43.5 for the combined for both teams. 43.5 is low. But what do you got? Do you think let's just get this out the way. Anyone thinking of an upset?
No, but the Ravens are going to be shaking in their boots. I think it's going to be something like a 3-point win.
I agree with that. I think it'll be close because, again, there's question mark about Lamar in the playoffs, and then I think with how well the Texans are playing, it's like that saying they just don't know any better. Like the Texans don't know they're not supposed to be here, so they're just playing with freedom, and I think that can make for a close game. But I'm going with the Ravens at home, and they got Mark Andrews back. I think too.
I can't pick. I want to pick the Texans, but I just can't right now. The Ravens are too talented all along, and I think their run game, including Lamar Jackson, will really thrive against the Texans. So give me the Ravens by 3 to 4. One score game.
Casey says the CJ Stroud and Jordan Love hype has deflated this weekend. I can certainly see that. Not that the hype will go away, but they'll be like, oh, they're young quarterbacks. Yeah. What about you, KG? What do you got?
I'm with Sam on this. Ravens by a field goal.
I like it. So Ravens, JB. What do you see? I know you have the script in front of you. Can you read it off for? Like, what do you see happening?
I don't want to read off the script, but I can't go against the Ravens. But as you said, the Texans are playing with house money right now. As you said, they don't know they're not supposed to be here. But I do think this game will be super close. But I can't go against Lamar and the Ravens. So Ravens,
clean sweep.
We'll get this one out the way because you guys know how I feel. I've echoed this all week. Packers 49ers. 49ers favored by 9.5 according to ESPN Bet. I know it's been exciting, at least for Packers fans. That ends this weekend. That ends. And I think the 49ers win, and they cover. They win by at least 9.5, 10 points. So give me the 49ers. I know the defensive tackle for the Packers, Wyatt, came out and said if we pressure Brock Purdy, he's going to turn the ball over. Basically predicting, like, hey, he's going to turn the ball over, which is not rocket science. If you pressure somebody, of course, the chances increase. But guess what, man? I think that offensive line, I think those weapons, that defense, I think they're the most complete team in football in terms of everything. Give me the 49ers. And they cover, too.
I've got the 49ers in this one simply because what do they have? The best running back in the NFL. What do the Green Bay Packers do poorly? Run defense. I think Christian McCaffrey runs all over the Green Bay Packers, and obviously that sets up a much easier job for like Brock Purdy with play action, George Kittle, Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. I think San Francisco puts on an offensive masterclass. I wouldn't be shocked if the Packers scored a little bit. It's either going to be one of those games where the 49ers pull away in the second half and win by 11-14, or they just boat race them from the beginning. But either way, it's a double-digit 49ers win to me.
KG?
I got this game a lot closer than people expect, but I got to go with the 49ers by a touchdown. They won't cover the whole spread, but 49ers by a touchdown.
And you could certainly use the argument against me, like, hey, Jeff, what about the Packers? They're the youngest roster in football. Maybe they don't know they're supposed to be here. And I agree. They're playing with house money, too.
Yeah.
But 49ers are...
I think that 2-week rest will affect them a little bit, just coming out the gates. Probably Green Bay gets to an early lead, and then it'll flip it after the half.
Okay. What about you, JB?
Jeff, I can't believe I'm doing this, but... give me the Green Bay Packers to defeat the San Francisco 49ers. And the Lions get that home NFC playoff game. So, give me the Packers. I'm not even going to give you a score on this one. All I know is that Packers will catch them slipping that first half. 49ers will bounce back, but it'll be a slim victory, probably by 3.
Sappy Johnson says, Jeff slept in the Packers last week, too. I'm going Packers. Okay, there you go. I don't hate it. Again, if the Packers win, it's cool. You get another game at Ford Field. I don't think it's going to happen. Last game, Chiefs-Bills. It's very simple for me, Sam. Very simple.
Go ahead.
It's in Buffalo.
Yeah.
The Bills are better. They already beat them, and they're going to beat them again in the postseason.
All right.
So give me the Bills.
I've got the Chiefs, to the shock of absolutely nobody. I think it's going to be more of a defensive battle.
It makes you even more confident, actually. You just pick the Chiefs.
And that's fine. I think it's going to be a more defensive battle than people think. We obviously know what the Kansas City Chiefs defense can do. It's the best of the Mahomes and Reid era, as I've always said. I think the difference in the game is going to be both quarterbacks play relatively efficient, but Josh Allen has that one turnover that Patrick Mahomes does not, and it's a close Chiefs victory, and all of Buffalo is just in shambles. And I like Josh Allen and the Bills, but I like Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs just a little bit better.
Well, sounds great. Hey, KG, what do you think?
Josh Allen will not lose to Patrick Mahomes for a third time. Give me the Bills. I think it's actually going to be a little bit of a runaway. I got like a 10-point victory for the Bills in this one.
JB?
You slipped up and let the Bills in the playoffs? I'm taking the Bills over the Chiefs.
Damn right.
There you go. And that'll have it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget, before you leave, hit the like button on the stream. It does obviously support the show. It supports the network as well. Helps with the algorithm. And you can find the Morning Woodward Show anywhere you get your podcast. Morning Woodward Show. Leave a 5-star review. Appreciate you guys. Have a blessed weekend. I'll see you Sunday for the pregame show, 9:30 to 11:30. Me, Booner, KG, and Michael Gentry. Jeff Iafrate, Sam Flannel, KG, JB. We'll catch you guys. Have a great weekend. See ya.